Good morning. Having a little bit of computer fun stuff. Good morning, everyone. It's Ruth Kent here, and this week we have been going through just different aspects of what is all the elements, all the tools, all the benefits of introducing you to a program called Success Together. And Success Together is a program that I have been given to help individuals no matter where they're at in life. If they're wanting better relationships, better health, better self image, sense of self worth, evolving in the next level, transforming or having a transformation in life, going from one lifestyle or one identity to now seeing more of what they can be. When I went from nursing to an entrepreneur, and when I went from a mother to um, just my husband and I, and then being just me. Very grateful for this tool called the Emotion Code and Body Code. And today, because it is such an element in the work and what makes Success Together different than um, other programs, in a sense that we're probably going to have some of the same repeated tools, but we're going to use the emotion code and the body code with each session we have and also the one-on-one sessions. It's a 10-week program. So for 10 weeks, you have the time, the space, and the consistency of working with clearing the trash. Um, on my website, somebody had ignited a statement. Ruth takes out the trash without going through the rubbish. And that's about what it is. And I'm going to be very transparent and open to you that um, this is not something I completely understand. But the power of the infinite, I don't completely understand either. I don't have that, but do I believe and depend, not depend, open to it? I would say open to it. And yes, because individuals, no matter where you're at in life, there's stuff that can be weighing you down, stopping you, making life harder. And that's where the emotion code, body code can come in, no matter what it is. And what we do is that the brain will tend to want to think about, okay, I think it's related to this. I think it's a problem solver. The brain will look for the next problem to solve. I invite your heart to be open to hear what is being said today. I believe it was Monday when I said that phrase, and I'm paraphrasing again. There's things that we know, we know. There's things we know, we don't know. But there's things we don't know, we don't know. We can simply be aware that life is hard. Allow yourself to go in. The emotion code uses intention 100%, kinesiology, muscle testing, and the release over the governing meridian, releasing this energy. So I'm going to go, and thanks to Dr. Bradley Nelson for not only seeing the suffering in people, but the missing link. I used to say was like a duck in water, calm on top and pedaling like hell underneath. And I'm going to share later my story, but right now I'm actually going to share the work of Dr. Nelson that he has brought to us. We live in a world of energy. Quantum physics, physicists, like Albert Einstein and his contemporaries, have been telling us for hundreds of years that we are actually beings of pure energy. Einstein said, all matter is energy. Everything is energy. Now that may seem a little bit abstract, so here's an example. Take a look at your hand. It looks like physical matter. I know it's mine because I have a scar here from a wart I had a long time ago. Totally being transparent here. And it doesn't look very much like an energy field, does it? It's just physical matter. Looks pretty solid. But if we look at this hand under a microscope, very powerful microscope, and magnify it enough so that you're looking at individual atoms. If you look inside the atoms, you'll see that it consists of nothing but empty space. Go figure. Who would think this? And some infinitesimally small, tiny energies zipping around to the speed of light. So your physical body is really just made of energy. And guess what else? You have an invisible body too, also known as spirit, the chi, the ki, and the prana. Now, I'll be very honest with you. When I had the advantage, and I'll share this later, but in 2012, I was blessed to teach the emotion code around the world. And when I was presenting this and I came to the part where it says, the otherwise known as chi, the chi, prana, ki, I was not familiar with those terms. And that opened me up to more learning. Albert Szent-Györgyi won the Nobel Prize for discovering vitamin C. Pretty important right now. We all love him for it. And he said, treating humans without the concept of energy is treating dead matter. In my 47 years of healthcare, 41 years of intensive care nursing, and I go back to that phrase, I didn't know what I didn't know. Back in the 1980s, there was a pharmacist that actually followed me around for 3 months, he told me, because he was trying to figure out what I was doing that helped my patients get better rest with less medication, have less pain with less medication, sleep, have better urine output, cardiac output. He was trying to figure out what it was that I was doing. For me, it was sharing love, giving everything I had to help that person be better during the time I was there. But he came in one day and he says, I want to see you in my office. Well, he didn't have an office. And so I got done with my patient and I gave report and, transferred the care over. And all of a sudden, I said, David, you don't have an office. And he says, I know, but I'm going to get one because I finally figured out what you do that is making a difference here. And he told me what I just shared with you. And I thought, well, okay, I'm a little nervous. I didn't realize somebody was watching me for 3 months. And he said, it's your bath. I said, my bath? And he says, yeah. What I had done, and I did not know I did it intuitively. I did it because if I was in that bed, I would want that. I would put their hands and their feet, I would lift them up and put it in nice warm water and release the energy. We have different forms of energy work, reflexology, massage, healing touch. And when I would give a back rub, and words that we use in the emotion code and body code is love and gratitude. Is that when I would give a back rub, I would go up and around and say love and gratitude, hoping, and my intention was to ask for the release of this discomfort, this imbalance, and to help this individual be stronger, healthier, and happier. I didn't know what I didn't know. It was somebody else that brought that in to me. So, giving you an example, going back to just the information about this work, I'm going to give you an example of when you cut your finger, you are able to heal the cut because your body gives your cells the energy, the life force that is needed to get the job done. Nobel Prize winner, physicist, Professor Maury Gell-Mann said body chemistry is governed by quantum cellular fields. We believe that the body, when your energy is balanced, your body can achieve its most healthy state, recovery from injury, having the energy, to get through that day, sleeping properly, and carrying you through life joyfully. But have you ever taken a long time to heal? Or you hear people say, and there's that old joke about, I can't dance, I've got the old football injury. We have books, we have documentaries called Heal right now that shows the power of that thought, that intention. Thank the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Louise Hay, Paul Lipton, Bruce Lipton, and many others. This is not a foreign concept anymore. And it's not in the hospitals. It's not a separate entity anymore. So going back, so you have this injury, you have this illness, and you're not recovering. Or you've stopped bouncing back from a cold like you used to. Maybe you get tired more easily as you age. These aren't necessarily all signs of aging, but could be signs of negative frequency or imbalance to the energy body that can accrue as you go through stresses of life. It's stacking, it builds up. It can happen to anyone, but that doesn't mean that you just have to live with it. Emotional baggage and other imbalances you may have collected over the years may be released layer by layer so you can feel better and better from the inside out. Remember that statement I shared with you, T.R. Record? The inner world creates the outer world. Professor Emeritus at Stanford University, William Tiller, PhD, said future of medicine will be based on controlling energy frequency in the body. And I believe we're getting closer and closer to that. And in fact, controlling frequencies in the body can be incredibly easy. Go figure. What do we tend to do? We want to make things hard, complex. Keep it simple. Sweetie, by the way. You may have physical symptoms going on right now. That could be addressed by balancing the body's energy. Methods like the emotion code and body code made it possible to remove negative frequencies from the energy body. They can create a state of balance that lets you be your best, emotionally and physically and spiritually. This makes conditions right to allow your body to recover from the illness or the injury as it was designed to do. I've had individuals that didn't have any physical problem, but due to the amount of stress, there was physical trauma. This makes conditions right now to allow your body to recover from the illness, no matter what's going on, what's going wrong. These methods can help you to identify the energetic roots of your symptoms and work to remove them. I do volunteer work for veterans and for cancer patients. And it was interesting because one vet, he told me that he had gone to acupuncture, and when they tried to put the needles into anything around the heart chakra, around the heart, the energy was so intense that it would pop out. And it was painful. And he was sitting there, he would come. Very first time he was referred to give it a chance. Can't hurt, it might help, which is something my 95-year-old mother would say to me. And it was interesting because all of a sudden he started relaxing. He started looking forward to it. He was there every week. And lo and behold, all of a sudden he said to me, he says, I think you know me more than I know myself. I said, oh no. And the phrase that I say many times is, I just work here. I don't come with a script or, oh, it's got to be this. No. The subconscious, the guidance, and we'll go in a little bit more through this, the muscle testing. It's connecting to your subconscious files. Energy healing can help us, and make incredible long-lasting changes in your body, mind, relationships, and very little training is needed. It wasn't, how can I say, difficult enough, or there wasn't more involved. And so this vet was trying to figure out, how can this work? And then he said he didn't care how it worked. He started to tell me some of the results. Most of his life, relationships were extremely difficult. It was always feeling very victim and, it's that other guy is this. And all of a sudden, he got asked to work at a job, and he was desperately looking for a job. But not only did he get this job, but they started to talk to him and say, oh, we really appreciate what you're doing. We really appreciate um, what you add to this job. And, are you going to be back? And how would you like to do this? He got responsibility as well. You see, he got to bring out that which was there, but released all the negative frequencies. He went back to that chiropractor, and suddenly they noticed that those needles weren't popping out again. Not only did he start relationships within his work, he felt better about himself, but he also found more friends. Friends were a term that he used. And when he did, he became emotional. Energy healing, the emotion code, the body code, can help us make incredible long-lasting changes in our bodies. These changes for this vet did not only last for a moment, they were life-lasting. The emotion code and the body code is made simple. I actually have a video of a 3.5, almost 4-year-old that was doing muscle testing and going through the steps of releasing emotions. It is very simple. You can read the book. Um, there's videos that are sharing the work. I have spent a career and my own personal journey to correct imbalances. And I'll share my story in a minute. In fact, I'll share that now. As a child, I was always sick. In fact, I was sick so much that I was sick over about half of the year when I was in second grade. It was impossible for me to keep up with the learning. And I was held back. And so then I got older and I got really physically fit. I was going to the gym. I was spending like anywhere from an hour to 2.5 hours. I did half marathons. I did 150-mile bike rides. Sunday morning, when I moved from Minnesota, I went to beautiful San Diego, beautiful Minnesota. But I went to San Diego, and Sunday mornings we'd do 50-mile bike rides and then spend our day having brunch, go to church, whatever, one would do. And I look back at those times because suddenly at 45 years old, all the motivational programs I did, my faith, everything, I couldn't figure out what was causing this intense pain in my body. My breathing problems, my immune disorders. And believe me, I went to several people. I went to acupuncturists, chiropractors. Now, I believe in every one of them. I went to them with the intention, the hope, and learning. I learned a great deal. And I wasn't one to hop from one thing to another. Somebody said a quote one day, it's hard to remove the chains when they're in love with the chains. I was not in love with my chains. And the other day I mentioned the blackboard with the white dot. That was one of these periods in my life where it was a blackboard with a white dot. And I was at the neurologist and he said, in 6 years, I see you in a wheelchair. Because by that point, I had lost the medial and the lateral nerve paths of my left leg. I had no sensation in this part of my hand. I had carpal tunnel. I was on steroids, inhalers for my breathing. I had tried numerous medications and would have one reaction after another. I was on the best program, eating healthy, taking nutritionals, drinking water, getting rest as much as I could. But I had also problems with insomnia at that time. And what I found is that I, first of all, I just prayed, help me to see the solution, help me to be aware that this is a solution, and to go forward, knowing that I am well and that I can be pain free. So, started going forward, and at a gathering, I met this individual. She introduced the company Nikan to me, which I use to this day. This is 1997. And Nikan had a concept that said, putting your body in the right environment to help boost your innate healing. I like that. As a nurse, I thought, that's what I hope to do with my patients, to put them in the right environment. Well, so time goes on. I got introduced to the company. I started using the products, and there was a miracle that happened there. And one was that all of a sudden I heard about this chiropractor that was doing amazing work. I lived in San Diego. He lived in Laguna Niguel. And it was Dr. Nelson. I was blessed to be his patient, his client, from March of 1997 to May of 1999. And the only reason I stopped was because I moved to Asheville, North Carolina. So, meeting Dr. Nelson, I couldn't understand what he was doing. And I went to numerous presentations that he did. In fact, one of his presentations was recorded. And just to show you how long, it was VHS. And over again, I went, oh my gosh, there's something going on. One of them that he did in 1998 was, I was having a terrible pinch in my neck, and I was having pain in my right rib. He released trapped emotions from my liver. And I went and sat down next to my husband and I said, I've got to learn more about this, because that pain in the neck and the pain in the rib was gone. People will say the first time you have a session, you go, okay, that was interesting, because many times it brings up things, addresses files that were placed in your subconscious from 7 years old and before, maybe inherited. And what's interesting is that how are you going to know that it was inherited, that you're living by this, that it's your blueprint? Muscle testing is a way that goes into those files. Some people have a difficult time with muscle testing. And the one thing I can say is that it's been studied for a long time. It started actually in 1912. It was studied by Robert Levet at Harvard Medical School. It's been used a long time. Now, one thing that I will say with muscle testing is, in doing so, get in a group or find somebody and, we'll work with you. There's videos. If you're interested in doing a group on Zoom and, practicing, learning different tips, great. I'll be there for you. Muscle testing is asking your body, asking your subconscious, and if it's something, first of all, it's important to get a baseline. My name is Ruth. My name is Harvey. This is the ring method. So I'm wearing purple. No, I'm not. I have a blue sweater on. Start with sometimes asking questions that you know the answer to. But the way I feel best about it is that I separate myself from this. It's not my head or my ego that's controlling that response. And the more you do this, the more you practice, you're going to become more proficient. But also, I find that as you clear emotions from you see that connection's even stronger, as is your intuition will be, your guidance, hearing that inner voice. So I shared with you in 1997, I became aware of this work. Well, after being in the Nikan environment, a wellness home, going to Dr. Nelson, in 3.5 to 4 months, I got out of bed for the first time and not crying. I was able to bend over and not barely get up again. I was able to take a walk with my daughter, who was 5 years old at that time. Was I grateful? Absolutely. But I didn't understand the impact of this. I thought it was all about physical things. In 2008, no, 2007, I was having marital problems. We were talking about divorce, and I was on the way of bankruptcy. I was working full-time as an intensive care nurse, being a mom, a wife, friend, and also starting businesses, attempting everything I could do. And so for my anniversary that year, I asked Dr. Nelson, I called him and I asked him and I said, could I have a session with you to clear in me anything that is bringing disharmony or imbalance in my marriage? And he did. So he cleared a bunch of emotions, and my husband, who was very black and white, very, it had to be, present to him, not really into a lot of this energy work that I was doing. And he looked at me 2 days later and he said, there's something different about you. Energy is felt. What is your frequency? What's your inner world showing up in the outer world? And lo and behold, it was very interesting because I didn't show him the session. About a month later, he was sitting on my desk and I shared with him that that session. Now, normally my husband would have looked at it and handed it back and he said, well, what's this about? But he looked at it as if he was reading every letter on the page. I thought, my goodness, what's on that note that I didn't see? And he handed it back to me and he says, you really love me, don't you? You see, that was deep in there for both of us. We do, and we really do love each other. We were looking at our differences, not why we were brought together. Over time, he kept doing the emotion code and body code from me. And when people were going through certification, he would always raise his hand and go, I'll be a client of yours. I'll do a session. And over time, he got rid of some of the inherited, some of the things that were built up. And our marriage changed. The last 2 years of our marriage, we renewed our vows. We came together in understanding how really powerful we are together. And as you may know, I lost him suddenly on January 3rd, 2017. Am I grateful for this work? Yes. There's a quote that was brought to me right before the pandemic was as it is. Um, and it was really a statement that has explained many, many things. It's that, white dot with the black board. Every adversity, every failure, every heartbreak carries with it a seed of equal or greater benefit. Napoleon Hill. From those times of physical imbalance, from those times of bankruptcy, marriage challenges, I can look in that rearview mirror and see how these have caused me to grow, help me to grow. And I was blessed to have faith and tools like this, the emotion code and body code, to help me free myself of the entanglement and to have discernment, to clear and to be focused on that white dot, the solutions, the possibilities, and the potential, not the conditions, circumstances, and situations. The emotion code can help physically in relationships, success, healing from generations. It also helps animals. And I'll be very honest with you, this is what helped me to go from my scientific mind. Is one of my very first clients, and this is so amazing because in the certification, you have to work on animals. I don't know another certification that this, unless you're going for a vet or something like that, but when I had to work on animals, there was a dog that had severe anxiety, severe phobias. It was terrible. The look in his eyes, the panic. And the owner took me out to the car, and the car was just marked up because every time he was in the car and she would go into the store, it was terrible. Could never go into a cage. The animal would be wounded when she got home. She tried everything. And Albert Einstein says, if you think you've tried everything, you haven't. And look how many feedbacks he got and thank God he went forward because we wouldn't be having the electricity. Do we understand that? No, we turn that switch on thinking the light's going to go on, knowing that that is how it works. So 4 years, well, actually about 5 years later, I went to see this gal and she had a new baby and got married she said, well, Ruth, that's that dog that you worked with. That dog could have cared less that we were in the room. Does this last? Yes. Many times people will talk about, well, how come that same emotion keeps coming up? Well, I gotta tell you, I was a queen of anxiety. And I found out that I inherited from both sides of the family. Now, my mother was in the hospital 6 out of 9 months. Did I absorb a lot of anxiety from her? And then I'm vibrating. My frequency is anxiety. So what do? Is I go into intensive care nursing. No anxiety there. Trauma nursing. Oh, heck. Sure enough. And it was an observation of somebody else. I was having a gathering of all the emotion code, body code practitioners within the 100-mile radius at my home. And one gal walked up to me and she said, you're softer. You see, I got rid of all the anxiety that I did not know was being felt out here. And what else did stop? All the head talk. Do you have these flippant statements that you say? Um, well, there, I knew that was going to happen. You know, I wonder um, when the shoe's going to drop. Or I wish I could. You know, it's helped me to be in a place of owning that power in the moment and getting to see more of who I get to become. But I'm offering that to you. There's many stories that I could share with you. And when I see, and I have them on my website so you can look at that, but I want you to know that no matter what the issue, what the situation is, what the goal or the dream is, release some of the baggage that can make it more difficult or feel like it's further away. Never give up. Never stop believing. And I'll leave you with this today. Changing the world. The only way we can change this world and bring it to a higher level of civilization is through changing the inhabitants of this earth, one at a time, by helping people to shed their emotional baggage, by transforming them back into their pure spirits that they should be or could be. They are. And they become empowered to become who their birthright, who they've been designed, who God intended them to become. Their pain, their phobias, their addictions, their self-defeating behaviors fall away. And the pure essence of each individual shines forth from each heart, filling the immensity of space. This is how the world will change. And we guarantee you, it will, one person at a time. I hope you will join me and others to be the benefit of this work. This is part of the emotion code, or part of the Success Together program. And so that all that you've learned, all the resources that lie within you, will be available, will be present to you, will be used, will be creating. Every day you get to be better and better. So the destiny to help transform this earth into a higher plane of existence, one life at a time. This was written by Dr. Bradley Nelson, and it's something that I today carry forward. I look forward to sharing this with you, and also remember the coupon to get $300 off for the Success Together program, and to have 10 weeks plus individual sessions within those 10 weeks, to have the abundance breakthrough session with you, to go in and clear those files that you don't want, declutter from within. The coupon is FB special, and this is going to be offered on Friday, not Black Friday, Golden Friday, and it's going to be a 24-hour special. Don't miss it. Have a blessed day, and I'm here for you. This is Ruth Kent saying goodbye today, and tomorrow we're going to have Kathy Wilkes join us, for she has attended this twice, and what her journey and where she is today. An amazing presentation, amazing person. Have a blessed day.